the Flashpoint guys, if you don't know, Kenneth Copeland, the weird preacher who freaks out on the woman asking him why he has to have two planes, and said and laughed because he was prophesying that Trump would become president again magically in a couple of months after the election. And when they said, they told me Joe Biden's president, ha 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 ha, he walked around the stage like that. That fucking lunatic. Okay, he has a channel called Flashpoint. It's its own, his own subsidiary. Let me pop it up on here. That's the little logo over there. And Flashpoint has a fucking crosshairs, which is just creepy as shit for a Christian broadcast, for whatever. And then they go into Obama, in this particular case. They go into Obama's statement on Walz, and then they bring in Mike Pillow. There he is. So this is their part with Mike Pillow. It's a fucking, the hours of these assholes. So I can only pick so much. But we're gonna listen to Mike Pillow, and then I don't know what's happening with both of these guys. They both look like Snapchat filters. I can't tell you who's real and who's not, nor would I want to. And hold on one second. I'm going to grab one thing because I know it will be an issue. I'm going to have to buy a new video card. That's all there is to it. A doobity-doo. Now, listen up. Listen here. We've got it. Listen, I'm trying to tell you right now, that Mike Pillow is the man. Okay, just trying to say so. Shit. Now why am I flickering? I'm back. It's fine. Okay. Now, well, golly, come on. How are we supposed to? Let's see what he has to say. Don't prejudge. Okay? You don't need to prejudge somebody. Let's find out.
Think about this pick, Tom Walz, your governor.
Well, it's good for us. You're going to have Fox News and all the outlets are going to have a hard time convincing us that this team could actually beat Donald Trump and Vance.
Yeah, because nobody listens to guys from Minnesota with that kind of an accent.
Because that's what they'll try and do. Oh, they're polling even. Give me a break. As soon as the rest.
They are polling even, though. I'm just saying.
The country finds out what Tim Walz stands for, what he's done.
What does he stand? School lunches.
To our great
military service.
State of Minnesota.
Sorry, aren't you still in business there?
It's just disgusting.
I don't know why the mustache thing on here makes my eyes go. Hold on. This better. This might be better. Oh, now I'm bald. That doesn't help at all. But I like it. It's not bad. Get out of here. I don't know why that little mustache made my eyes all glowy. It's very strange. It's curious beyond curious.
You talk about let's bring back the China virus. With the China virus, he put us under restrictions you can't even imagine.
I can imagine almost anything, I think, really. Yeah. I can imagine most of this stuff.
People in your house for Thanksgiving, your neighbor could turn you in.
Right.
Christmas.
Yeah, tell him Gene the Jesus machine. Also, hold on one second. I don't know if this is. Let me try and. I'm going to keep that. I'm going to save it. I like it. But. All right. Turn that off real quick. Might make me a little smoother. I don't know why the delay thing is happening. We're going to have to figure that part of it out. I'm not sure. Because it keeps being a thing. I was trying to fix it on the live stream earlier, and try to bring it back to normal. Besides turning the camera off and turning it back on a bunch of times, but apparently not. Apparently it's just being a dick. But anyways, back to where we were.
He gave us 2 extra people, though. Just disgusting. We ate out in snowbanks with our plates, before they got cold. The restrictions were so bizarre. But what did he do in the summer of 20? Let's just burn down Minneapolis. Let it burn. Burn down our precinct. Let's get rid of the police. Let's, he could have.
I think that was kind of I'm just saying that was kind of the Minneapolis mayor more than it was him, but also. If I may, and we'll We'll try to do this. Hold on 1 second, chat room. I'm going to jump back over to you and then go to, let's see. I think it was I even posted this shit. There's an audio of Trump endorsing, here it is. Tim Walz right here. I'll play it for you.
Was on the phone and we spoke, and I fully agree with the way he handled it the last couple of days. I asked him to do that, and the whole world was laughing. 3 days later, I spoke to the governor. The governor's, I think, on the call, and he's an excellent guy. You've got a big National Guard out there that's ready to come in and fight like hell. I tell you, what they did in Minneapolis was incredible. They went in and dominated. And it happened immediately. Tim is on the phone now, Tim Walz. Again, I was very happy with the last couple of days, Tim. You called up big numbers, and the big numbers knocked them out so fast, it was like bowling pins.
Our city is grieving and in pain. And I would just say, as far as the potential, the peaceful protesters who are expressing an outrage that is real. They witnessed 8 minutes of a man dying in front of them. Well, at that point in time, I did something unprecedented. I mobilized the entire Minnesota National Guard, and that's what the president was alluding to with the size of the force was capable. But I think, again, Mr. President, you asked on explaining this, I would just say, it's going to be very difficult. There are bad actors in this, but there is such a legitimate anger. Our real dilemma here is the transition back is to the catalyst that sparked this across the country, and that was what happened with the Minneapolis Police Department. So what we did is a lot of this, what you saw yesterday, was engaging civic leaders and the peaceful protests. And I would just close with, I think the guidance is you got to get a handle on it with that force. That is absolutely correct. And then the transition in the next phase is trying to get those spaces for the peaceful protest. And I'm happy to do things that we have to look at of how do we get reforms.
But Tim, it shows.
Yeah, so that's Trump listening to and agreeing with and thanking Tim Walz for doing a great job in Minnesota. Just for the record. So again, needless to say, a blunted attack that is happening on as Mike Pillow was like, "Here it comes, we're gonna get him," and then
incredible.
Sorry, hold on, and then he totally does.
He could have stopped that, but instead it spread all over the country and world, for that matter.
Real quick, how did you stop outrage from spreading? How? What do you say? What do you say? Hey, it wasn't that big a deal. Tell us, Mike. Tell us how you address the outrage over George Floyd's death in a way that other people aren't horrified outside a 9-block radius. What the fuck?
Just him and our mayor of Minneapolis, but Walz was behind it all. He's about as far left as you can get.
No, I think the CCP would beg to differ.
Many ties to China, like you said earlier.
All right, dude, I went to China a bunch. You can go there a bunch and not end up being a communist. As a matter of fact, if you've been there in the last 20 years leading up to before Xi Jinping decided to cadaver the entire economy because he's a fucking moron, if you were there up to that, they looked more committed to capitalism than we did, like bully capitalism. Like there are more guards on capitalism and at least attempts to make it safe in the United States than China ever fucking had. And I mean ever. They don't give a fuck. Like just the fact that we have an EPA alone, as neutered as Trump and others like him will try to make it be, as limited and as dull as its teeth can be made, the sheer existence of that puts us light years ahead of how the CCP handled, economic growth and corporate interests in fucking China. Dead serious. Like, get the shit out of here. It's nonsense.
and the executive orders she's done, the regulations we have in Minnesota. People say, Mike, why don't you get your company out of Minnesota? I grew up there. Friends,
So?
family. These people, these are
friends, neighbors, crack dealers.
careers there at My Pill. But he's done everything to destroy small business. Minnesota is also, by the way, one of the most highest tax states here. I think we're third in the country.
Again, then leave.
Everything you see, everything he's done to our school.
There's got to be some kind of an upside. So it's shitty, burned down, it sucks, and the taxes are too high. But you know people there. Right.
He shut down our Christian churches, but yet he let them.
Yeah, well, oddly enough, it seems like he cared more about the parishioners than you did.
Mosque open, and the call out to Olive from the buildings in Minneapolis, never been done before in the United States, not before or since that I know of. This is during the China virus. I mean, it was crazy.
Yeah, but the call to prayers, you don't have to go to the mosque to do that. You just do your prayer where you are.
Him and I went round and round. When he heard I was going to be running for governor after the 2020 election, he sent out.
He sent something. I don't know what he's going to say, but I would like to preface put a little one of those like hash marks in there after he stopped laughing.
Like $1 million worth of flyers to everybody's house in Minnesota, just slamming me and bad-mouthing me and putting all this other. Is this what you want to be your governor? And
I mean, how could you not? Look at him. And I know what you're thinking, ladies, but sorry, he's taken by someone we've never seen.
And, of course, everybody called me up and said, are you going to run? Are you going to run? I said, well, not right now. We got to fix our election platforms. I said I wouldn't run to be a dog catcher with these computers still involved in our elections.
Here, if last.
Why not? Why not run and lose? And because of the popularity of your ideas and what you're saying, why not just win and then you've lost and go, aha, I want a review of all those things because I am a candidate and therefore I have standing in this election for governor of Minnesota and I want to see I did lose. Oh, fuck. Oh, okay. See, because I thought, no. Yeah, no, I get it. I get it. By a lot. Yeah. I mean, not even. Yeah, I get it. Not even close. Sure. I'm sorry. Did you? No, you don't have to keep showing me all the votes I didn't get. I know. Yeah, it's a truck. Where are the votes little red wagon? Oh yeah, there they are. Those are all me though, right? That's not bad. 27, 30 employees, family members. Who in my family didn't vote for me? Son of a bitch. All right, so.
Point, it would take what we put on the air, we take very seriously. And
come on. Gene the Jesus machine, everybody. No. No, you absolutely do not. You have Lanny Walnuts on the fucking show. Gene? No one seriously puts Lanny Walnuts on a television show. Yeah, for those of you who don't know, this is Gene the Jesus Machine. There's a normal group of people that he has on. The most common one these days is Lanny Walnuts.
And who we put on the air, we take seriously as well. But that comes even more so when it comes to men of the cloth and prophets. Well, I met Joseph Z over a year ago.
Okay, first of all of the prophets on Flashpoint fucking suck. Look, I've been as tempted to call a psychic hotline as anybody, but I'm here to tell you, at least they get the occasional thing right. You sound like a male. All right, cool. You're fucking nailing it right now. But I have never seen anyone. Their record at prophesying is so fucking bad. There has to be a God just fucking with them. Like God has to be up in the sky, literally looking down, going, whatever they say, I'm going to make the opposite happen just because I fucking hate these idiots. And scene. I'm just saying. Hold on. There you go.
And I've continued to watch Joseph, my friend Hank Kuhneman. We've continued to watch him.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Skank Kuhneman, we call him.
When he didn't know we were watching, see how he handled things.
Really? Were you in the bushes with your pants off? What do you mean when he didn't know you were watching?
And I'm glad to
Wait a minute. You were cribbing other people's prophecies?
say I'm proud to have Joseph Z on the show tonight. Thank you, Joseph, for being here. I want to hear.
So has he always been Joseph Z, or did he just change his last name to Z when the Russians attacked Ukraine and he was like, saw what was going on in Bucha and he's like, yeah. Then they painted a Z on the top of his fucking head?
Your take. I want to play this clip, but before I do, I want you to talk about, are you encouraged or discouraged about where America is right now?
I'm encouraged by the Lord, Gene. Gene, I want you to know right now that I'm encouraged. I don't know what this guy sounds like.
No.
Well, it's a mixed bag, Gene, because I believe very clearly the Spirit of the Lord is making a way for the body of Christ to go through in this time. And
Through what? The colon of the universe?
you know, even when we bring up guys like Tim Walz and you're looking at what's going on, people say he's, you know, Midwestern folksy. I have another word for him, being from Minnesota myself, and it's weird. The guy's just weird. You see the
All right, try harder. You can't just borrow his slam, shithead.
way he hugs his wife. You see the way he does everything. I believe
The way he hugs his wife. First of all, his wife will hug him. He hugs his wife. Maybe, just maybe, and this might be weird. I don't know, in your fucking weird performance art world, that maybe it's weird hugging your loved ones in front of large crowds. Maybe you're not quite sure, like you wouldn't do it as naturally because what the fuck, right? There's something to that. Maybe. Avenatti's corrupt to win.
the Spirit of the Lord is letting them overextend their reach. I believe he's giving them a sense of confidence that's actually going to be a surprise silver lining turnaround in this whole narrative. I believe the Spirit...
Yes, wait a minute. So this is part of God's hubris plan, is what you're saying. In theory. Right? That seems to be that's what you're arguing? It's that God's setting them up. I gotta tell you, dude, it sounds like that's what God is doing to every fucking member of the Flashpoint crew.
Spirit of the Lord is going to bring victory and breakthrough. And, you know, it's interesting how the spirit of Antichrist just loves to pick these people that fit right in with the wicked overlord, lizard mafia.
Oh, you mean Trump? Okay, sorry. Yeah, you mean because Trump was friends with Jeffrey Epstein and they hung out and he was skeevy and he was a pussy-grabbing scumbag and he's a proud, adjudicated rapist, which, I mean, pride cometh before the fall. I mean, that should obviously stand out as a bad trait to you, yeah?
That is really driven by their goblin masters. And when you're looking
You do realize we're not living in a Tolkien novel.
at this, I believe that's exactly what we're facing right now.
No, it's exactly not. You're not actually facing a lizard mafia of goblin overlords. You fucking chimp.
A spirit of Antichrist that wants to have its way. And somehow the body of Christ has been lulled to sleep in some areas, thinking
Like an asshole.
that they just need to be kinder and nicer and just
Yeah, where would you get that idea from Christ?
let people burn this place to the ground. But the Spirit of the Lord is bringing a roar this year, a wake-up call to the body of Christ that I believe they're going to stand up and say, no.
Oh, I get it. So basically Jesus is laying there in bed and his feet are asleep and he's got like tingly leg syndrome and he's like laying there going like, wake up feet. Something like that. What the fuck is this?
Actually, it's time that you move. We're done moving. You move. And we're
Yeah, but basically like God is Tim Conway in the dentist sketch when he anesthetizes his own hand. Let me sign this document if I can. Fucking hell.
We're going to stand up and push this wicked agenda backwards. And so I see hope. So with the immediate empirical observation, we're looking
Hey, Walz's daughter's name is Hope. She was conceived through IVF, which you guys are against. Weird.
at, there is some very serious things in front of us. But Gene, as we've talked about before, I believe that we're looking at a
Excuse me, that's Mr. Jesus Machine to you.
4-year redemption cycle. I believe we're going
A 4-year redemption cycle? Jesus Christ, this dude is the bald Scott Ritter of bullshit prophets. You can't keep punting your fucking prophecy. We need prophecies with a fucking shelf life, dum-dum.
going into a time of redemptive instability. We're going into instability.
So Trump's not going to get elected, or he is, and all the bullshit he brings with him and the chaos is going to be all part of God's plan. So either way, however it goes, you can claim you were right. I'm starting to think this is like an easily perceptible scam or something.
Because the Lord is going to use the very weapons of the enemy, much like Goliath's sword, to begin to turn this scenario on.
Goliath's sword? He was hit in the head with a fucking rock.
The enemy. And I believe redemption is the end of this arc. I believe we're going to see the goodness of the Lord in the land of the living, because the cries of the righteous, they've absolutely been heard. And you know, I'm so grateful for Pastor Hank.
Okay, first of all, nobody is. Secondly, what the fuck kind of like semi-biblical gibberish is this? Way to say fucking nothing. Nothing. And by the way, somebody just wrote in the chat, Jesus was a socialist. No, he wasn't. Anybody who can magically make 2 fishes turn into a multitude is not a socialist. He's fucking magic. Socialism takes work. Jesus could just magically make it happen. Nobody can magically if you can heal the sick, you're not for universal health care. If you were, you'd just heal all the sick. Because you don't have to be there personally. You just eliminate sickness, wouldn't you? As a matter of fact, in the story, he's kind of a dick. Why would it be topical? Why would he have to show up like Jesus the ointment? It's annoying.
And yourself leading the charge with the heart of God in the middle of a world and a culture going mad. And a revelation and flashpoint for every viewer that's on here. A man or woman with a revelation is not at the mercy of some culture going mad. Jesus is with us. I believe that we see the goodness of the Lord in the next 4 years. I believe we're going to rise up and see it come to pass. There's a lot of visions I've had about it.
See what come to pass? You haven't said anything, you fuckwad.
Pastor Gene. But
this is aggravating. This is so stupid. It's irritating me. Very seldom am I irritated by nonsense. I find it kind of amusing. But this is painfully obtuse.
Victory, I believe, is a part of our makeup. It's a part of what God's called us to do.
I agree. That.
With what? What do you go, Gene? You agree with what? What do you agree with, you absolute moron? What? Tell me what, please. Please, for the love of Jesus Christ on a popsicle stick, what do you agree with? What? What do you agree with? What part of that? In the next 4 years, something? What? What are you what?
It's a good word. All right,
This is a political show, by the way. I would like to remind everybody, this is posing as Christianity, but this is a political show.
Let me show you. Because you brought it up, let's go back to the riot season, and let you hear what Tim Walz had to say. What he thought would have. Now remember, this is 2020. This is in the heat of everything. Listen to what he said about it all.
A society that does not put equity and inclusion at the center of it is certainly going to eventually come to the places where we're at. This is a moment of inflection. It's a moment of real change. It's a moment that those folks who are out there demanding this are not going to take a commission or a report. They're going to want fundamental change. And that is what I think that's one of the exciting things in the midst of all this. You can feel a sense of optimism coming back.
Okay, I don't know.
Look how mad these guys are. What kind of Jesus-y bullshit? Love your enemies. Get out of here, you fruit. Like that's look at all of them. Look at all of them. He's like, there might be a silver lining to this, that we can all, move forward together, and the people, the protesters specifically, not the people burning shit down. The protesters are specifically there to, because there's been inequality in this situation, and nothing will solve it but equality. Yeah.
No, how you can get optimism during if you're not a believer, for instance. I mean, we had optimism, but we were discerning the times.
What? So you were optimistic during the time. So what? And by the way, he wasn't optimistic, and he's got a cross hanging around his neck 24/7
during all of that. Now, Joseph, you mentioned earlier that you actually are from Minnesota. Talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, he's from mini Minnesota. It's a teensy little state. It's north of Montana, just near the Canadian border. It's about that big, and mini Minnesota, and he's actually 1.5 feet tall. He's the mini me of prophets. Right.
And your connection back there.
So my uncle was running against Tim Walz in 2022. His name is Senator.
Okay, at least you don't have any a bone to pick specifically.
Paul Gazelka. He was running against this character right here, and
Wait, his name's Paul Gazelka? He didn't just drop all the letters except the Z in Gazelka? And also, if you're Joseph Gazelka, why aren't you Joseph K? Oh, right, because you support Russia.
Actually was greatly involved in the 2020 scenario when Walz was not allowing the National Guard to do their job as quickly as they needed to.
As quickly as they needed to? Oh, right, because they were trying to protect civilian and human life as opposed to treat it like an army on the streets of a country, say like China would.
And there was all these excuses and delays, and that's something you'd expect from a guy who
doesn't want to kill civilians.
Pulled over for drunk driving, and in his drunk driving narrative began to blame it on his deafness. And those are the kind of characters that we're dealing with in this scenario. They always put things off on the other setting that they're working with. And so
they put this off on the other setting that they're working with. By the way, this guy is peak Jesus, according to the other people. Yeah, so.
My Uncle Paul was running against him, and he had an insider view of some of the things that were taking place. And during that same narrative, right during that time, even my daughter went downtown and was standing there with Antifa, like taking photos of them, praying as these things were taking place. And I got to tell you, the spirit by which hostility was manufactured and allowed with the issue or the edict of Antichrist trying to come and shut Minnesota down, it was a disgrace to that state. I'm from there. Just like Mike, I'm from there. I grew up in this territory. And when they're beginning to allow these things to happen, it was disgusting.
Just say you grew up in the state, or you mean you moved to Iowa?
Disgraceful.
Because churches are cheaper there?
And I think it was Babylon Bee that put out something really funny. You know, Tim Walz, he'll make America, Minnesota. And when you look at this type of narrative, it is horrifying, it's despicable, and I think America should wait.
Well, for the record, Minnesota now and before the George Floyd riots, in theory, not Minnesota in the middle of George Floyd's riots, which was, by the way, I guess, using your logic, Mike Pence's fault.
Wake up to this, and I think many people will because they're overplaying their hand.
What do you mean they're overplaying their hand? They picked a Minnesota governor to be a VP. What in the fuck? They didn't fucking get like the Berkeley mayor.
I believe you're right. Rick, let me go to you on all this. You know, when we...
No. Fuck, I'm almost done with this. But, Gene, what was he right about? What are you talking about? Stop agreeing and say, here's the thing. This should be a rule. This should be a rule with time permitting, and it always does on a live stream like they have. It's not like they're fucking pressed for time. They can stay on as long or as short as they want to. So, here's what you should do. This should be the fucking rule. Gene the Jesus machine and Z-bot over here. Listen, if you say I agree to something that somebody says, I want you to source something they said when you say it. I agree that we need more of this. I agree that this happened because of that. I agree that if we'd have had more of this situation, then this wouldn't happen. Like, cite what they just said to prove you were even fucking listening, and then say, I agree that, but I mean, obviously you can't with this guy because jibber jabber, but at least cite the jibber jabber so I know that you were listening to the jibber jabber and not just assuming he's going to say something and waiting for a pause so you can switch over and talk to fucking Skank Kuhneman.
See, and this isn't just, we're not just
Wait, who was president when these buildings were on fire? I can't remember.
going to spend our time here bashing Tim Walz.
Oh, right. Yeah. Yes, you are.
However, people need to understand, and this is what I was watching today, with him and Kamala. I keep wanting to throw in a few
Vice President Harris.
adjectives, so I won't do that.
You want to throw in some what? Like what? Like what? This is a Jesus-y show. What? Just say them. Obviously, God would approve. Whip them out, dumb fuck.
So when he was talking about, I mean, and you, if you're not paying attention, you would forget scenes like this that you're seeing.
No, we were paying attention. Trump was president. He screwed the pooch on all this shit.
You would forget this is Minneapolis in 2020. You would forget.
You know why? Because it's not like this anymore, you dumbass. That's the point. It didn't stay like this. The programs they put in place actually helped. It lowered the chances of shit like this happening again in the fucking future. What are you talking about? Of course we know that happened then, but the reason we're not dwelling on it is because he's been an effective governor, and the Minneapolis mayor has been an effective fucking mayor, and the congressional delegates around that have been effective, and the senators from Minnesota have been effective. What? Good Lord.
This guy didn't send help down because the right paperwork wasn't filled out. That's his words, not mine. This is what we have.
Well,
so this is our duty at Flashpoint, Rick, to help people understand.
Yeah.
This is why we're not endorsing a candidate that's for this. We can't endorse anybody, but I'm telling you, this is not a good idea.
Okay. By specifically saying you wouldn't endorse one group and not mentioning the other side, you are endorsing that other side. Fuck off, Gene. All right. I like up to fucking here with Gene the Jesus Machine, if I do say so, my damn self.